Hey guys, this is Andre from Wealthy Neighbor. Hope you're all doing well. In this video, I'll give some tips to get over bad habits. So things we do that sometimes we are even aware of doing it that are slowing us down and preventing us from completing some objective or reaching some goal we want to, or even having a negative impact in our lives, in our relationships, and in our finances. Please take a minute to read the disclaimer, and if you agree with all the terms and conditions, let's go. This video will cover 3 different topics. First, some ways to get over bad habits, some tips and recommendations. Then I will share with you guys my bad habit and how it affected me. Actually, this is not the only bad habit I have, but this is one I want to share with you. And then I'll tell you guys what my solution was and how is it going so far. Maybe it will motivate you guys to get over your bad habits. Maybe it will give you some idea on how to deal with them. And that's my intent in recording this video. So some ways to get over bad habits. This is not new, it has been around for a long time. And it's all over self-help books, motivational books, websites, and psychologists will tell us these things all the time. I believe that the most effective way to get over bad habits is through awareness. So you have to be aware of your bad habits, and when you are doing that thing that you consider a bad habit, stop for a moment and think with yourself. If you have trouble doing that, maybe you will try to keep a diary and write it down. Every time you are doing one of your bad habits, think and write it down. What are you feeling at this moment? And is this habit trying to replace some other need you may have at this moment? So some people will eat because they are sad, but actually it's not food that they really need. So every time I want to eat some ice cream because I'm sad, I will stop, pay attention to myself, to my own feelings, and be aware of what I'm feeling and write it down. And then I'll think even deeper and try to realize if this habit, this ice cream, is trying to replace something else in my life that I don't have. It's trying to replace some need, maybe for comfort, maybe for a relationship, or maybe for some conversation with someone else. Every time I'm doing one of my bad habits, I will stop and be aware of it and be aware of my feelings and needs. Second tip, through sheer motivation. Some people have such a strong mentality that they can stop their bad habits themselves, without any other intrinsic or extrinsic motivation. They can just say to themselves, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. And this is it. Their motivation will drive them through this road and keep them from doing bad habits. But in my opinion, this is difficult and this is a very valuable skill. So if you have this strong motivation, good for you. Through seeing the positive effects. So some people might quit bad habits by thinking about the benefit quitting this habit will bring to their lives. So maybe I spend a lot of money gambling every week. And once I realize that this is bad habits and I'm not making any money out of it, then if I start to think and then I realize that if I can save this money, I can invest it or I can buy something I like, maybe I will stop gambling, because I can see a positive effect that stopping my bad habit will have in my life. Some people do the opposite. They stop bad habits through considering the negative effects it has in their lives. So maybe I drink too much, and when I'm drunk, people around me don't like me that much, Maybe I'm too aggressive, maybe I get violent and say things that I will regret later. So this is affecting my relationship with others. And if my relationship is important, I will see its negative effects, the negative effect of my bad habits, and this will be an incentive for me to stop doing that. Make the object of your bad habit less available intentionally. So maybe some people like to procrastinate while they are working. They want to check their phones all the time. They want to check Facebook. They want to check their email or Instagram. So one way to do that is, keep your phone away from you while you're working, or take some breaks, 10-minute breaks just to check your phone, but then turn it with the screen facing the table. You're not seeing the notifications and you're not being tempted to check what's going on all the time. So you're making the object of your bad habit less available intentionally. Connect it to something that is meaningful for you. And this is something that we'll talk about later in this video. So in my example, I try to quit my bad habit by connecting it to finance. So I don't want to spend more money on this habit, and I can see how much I can save if I quit it. So this is an incentive for me, and I'm connecting quitting my bad habit with something that is meaningful for myself. Replace your bad habit by something that is less harmful or even harmless. So maybe I eat too much candy and maybe I eat too much sugar all the time, and I want to replace it by something that is less harmful. For example, I can replace a slice of cheesecake for an apple. Of course, it's not the same taste and maybe it doesn't give the same pleasure, but I don't need to eat cheesecake all the time. I can start building up this resistance to one of my bad habits and start changing it for something that is less harmful for my health or even harmless. So these are some of the tips people use to get over their bad habits. I believe that the most important thing, first of all, you should be aware of it. And then you can combine one or more of these strategies the best way that will work for you to get rid of your own bad habits. And now I want to share with you guys one of the bad habits I have had for a very long time. So one of my bad habits, and the one I want to share you guys, is eating too much chocolate. So on a regular month, I would eat around 6 kilograms of dark chocolate. And I knew that this was a bad habit because sometimes I didn't even want to eat chocolate. I just ate it because, I was used to it. Many doctors recommended I cut the amount of chocolate I ate because it was starting to harm my health, It was contributing to my gastritis, contributing to acne, and also to diabetes because of the high sugar levels in my blood. And even though doctors would say that, I still think that, oh, I want to eat chocolate. I like this very much and I don't care about their opinion. I don't care about my health that much. I'd rather eat chocolate and getting sick than stop eating chocolate. Okay, so at a certain point in time, I had this gastritis and it started to bother me. So I finally decided that I would give a shot trying to stop eating chocolate. I have never done it before. I didn't know how it would going to work or whatever it going to work or not. But, I decided to give it a shot and see what's going to happen. So what were my motivating factors? What of those tips I mentioned before I used to quit eating chocolate? The first one was the awareness of this bad habit. So I asked myself, why do I eat chocolate? And then I got to this conclusion. It gave me comfort. It was not only because of the taste of chocolate. It was not solely because I thought it was tasty, but it was comforting me. It was replacing something that I didn't have, maybe a connection, maybe a partner, a relationship, I don't know yet. But all I know is that eating chocolate made me comfortable, made me happy. And also I became aware that it had become a habit. So every day in breakfast, after lunch and after dinner, I would eat some amount of chocolate. Even if I couldn't finish all the food I had on my plate, I would have room for some chocolate. And it was always chocolate. Maybe there's some other dessert. Then I would have that other dessert and chocolate. It had become a habit and something that I did almost unconsciously. So the first step was to become aware of this habit and the reasons that led me to it. Then I started to consider the negative effects. So everything the doctor said about gastritis, about acne, and about diabetes, I started to take into account as a second motivation for me to quit this habit. And then I started replacing chocolate by something else. I confess that my strategy is currently not that good because I replace chocolate with avocado, but I eat it with sugar or other desserts like cake or cheesecake or pie or whatever. But now I just eat these desserts because I feel like I want to eat something sweet. Maybe I still feel like I need something sweet to give me comfort or something, but I stopped eating chocolate with this dessert. So I guess this was a step in the right direction for me. And maybe in the future I will try to use the same technique to cut cake and other foods that might be harmful for my health. But so far this has been going well. And finally, the last strategy, the one that I want to detail with you guys, since this is a finance channel. So I connected this bad habit to finance. Then I was aware that I spent about 100 reais every month on chocolate. So I did some calculations using the future value of an annuity formula. So I considered that I would save $100 every month, and then I could invest this money in some kind of investment. So in this table, I considered different interest rates. So savings account, certificate of deposit, 10% return on the stock market, or a 12% return on the stock market. So in the second column, these percentages are annual returns already discounted by the taxes. And in the first row, I have different years. So in 1 year, putting my money on a 100% certificate of deposit investment, I would have saved 1,227 reais and 64 cents. Well, that's not much, but when you take it to 5 years, in the last column, it's almost 608,000 reais. This is enough to pay for a trip in which I will have a lot of fun. This is enough to rent a hotel at the beach so I can go surfing for an extended period of time. And this money would be spent on my bad habits, something that I almost didn't get any pleasure from. A little bit more aware of the money I was spending on that, so this was also one of the motivating factors that led me to quit and sustain the quitting of eating too much chocolate. And finally, how are things going for me? So I started using this strategy 3 weeks ago. I know it hasn't been a long time, but for me, given my standards and how much I have eaten chocolate in the past, this is a lot. I actually never thought I would need or want to do that. I always used to think that I don't care getting sick, if I can eat chocolate, this is worth living for me. And now I can go 3 weeks without eating chocolate as a bad habit. Just to make it clear, sometimes I still eat chocolate. Maybe there is this carrot cake with chocolate icing or even chocolate ice cream. In these situations, I don't consider it to be a bad habit because I'm not eating chocolate because I want to feel comfort or because it's become a habit or because I'm doing it unconsciously. In these situations, I believe that the settings are different and they are not that harmful because they are not that frequent. So that's my story, guys. I hope this video is useful for you to get awareness of all your bad habits, and I also hope that if you want to quit them, you can find some strategy to do so. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time.